Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here again with you. We're joined this afternoon by Matt Bode, who is the procurement manager for Creekstone Farms Premium Beef out of Arkansas City, Kansas. Matt has the privilege of living along the Front Range of Colorado in Denver, and we're privileged to have him with us here in Mitchell, South Dakota today to visit a little bit about their age and source verified program and to tell us a little bit about Creekstone Farms.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be with you guys today, and thanks for inviting me up here. We do source quite a few cattle out of here in South Dakota, and I grew up here, so it's great to be back. The Creekstone Farms program is basically strictly Black Angus program, and then we focus on several age and source verified export dominated markets such as NHTC, all natural, which is mostly domestic, and then this, of course, the source and age program. And we stick to the Black Angus cattle in each one of those and process them in our plant down there in Ark City and distribute them in 13 foreign countries as well as across the United States.
Tell us a little bit about the specs of the kind of cattle when you're out traveling the country. What kind of cattle are you looking for in terms of size and how many days on feed, about how much back fat you want when you send those to market?
Well, with us focusing on Angus cattle, we naturally get a little bit fatter cattle, but we have a pretty high-end clientele, so we're focusing on high choice and prime type cattle. And in 2011, we graded 89% choice or higher for the year, so we're kind of sticking to that format. And so we look for the cattle with enough days on feed, at least 120 days, and up to 240 on a calf fed. And just try and we hand select those cattle off every show list at each feed yard, and that'll fit our programs.
So are all of the cattle that you purchase, are those all grain-fed cattle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about how long you've been in business and what you enjoy about working for Creekstone Farms.
Well, Creekstone at our current location in Ark City has been there just a tick over 9 years now, and the company's been in existence about 11 years. We were doing some custom processing in Nebraska before that. And what I enjoy about working for them is I'm the longest serving employee at this time. Okay. And it's a small privately owned company, and we kind of look at things long term and look for high quality niche programs that we can be efficient and value added at and provide those products to our customers.
Okay, so when you go out to look at cattle at a ranch and you find a set of cattle that you'd like to buy, do you buy those on the live market? How do you buy those, and what kind of premium might you offer to the producer?
At the feed yards, we'll buy them dressed in the beef. We'll buy them live. We'll buy them on a grid. The feeder cattle that are going into the feed yards, we help facilitate that trade as well. Particularly within the all-natural or NHTC or source and age verified program, and those will typically sell on the live market, and we'll do them in the country or through a sale barn or through the videos, but we just try and coordinate that supply so we can keep a year-round supply of our cattle available.
Tell the folks that are watching, tell them a little bit about the grid that you might purchase cattle on and the kind of grid that your cattle would do best on.
Our grid's focused towards higher end choice type cattle, and so we're a little more lenient on the yield grade 4s and the heavy carcasses than some programs would be. And we use a digital imaging camera for applying our yield grade, and then we use a slide based on that exact formula for our yield grade discounts, and then the premiums are based off USDA quality grades.
So when you're purchasing cattle, do you run any of those through and use an ultrasound machine to try to determine how much marbling they have before you actually send them to the plant?
We've done that in the past year, where this choice select spread's only been $1 or $2. That's kind of pushed a lot of guys away from the grid. But here in the last month and a half, where that spread's come back to $12 now, we're seeing renewed interest in guys gridding cattle, and so I'm sure that will pick up this summer.
Are there any particular bloodlines that you look for when you're looking for cattle, or just as long as they're certified, as long as they're Angus beef, Black Angus cattle, that's what you're looking for?
You know, we work with quite a few registered producers and within their bloodlines, as well as AI sires, and there's a great group of those guys that we've had the good fortune to work with, and we're going to continue to try and do that.
So how about how many of the cattle that you purchase end up coming out of South Dakota?
South Dakota is always ranked in our top 5 states. Okay. As far as fed cattle. From a feeder cattle standpoint, You know, if we buy them in Kansas or Nebraska, a lot of those cattle might have came up from here originally anyway. So if you look at it from a feeder calf standpoint, it'd be a lot higher than that.
Certainly. So what you're telling me, there's probably an opportunity, at least for some producers, if they wanted to feed their cattle out. A lot of these good cattle that are raised here in South Dakota would certainly qualify for your program, and certainly be an option for the producers.
Absolutely. We buy cattle in South Dakota almost every week. A couple years ago, we bought over 70,000 head up here. In recent years, it's come down just because of transportation and competition with the dwindling cow herd. But we're still up here every week, and we'd be glad to get more cattle from here if we can.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. We've had a good time with you here and learned a lot. Thank you, Matt.